My people, what is going on? Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Give everybody just kind of a quick second to get in here. Just got a chance. I was listening to Max Christie on Spectrum Sportsnet. So listening to a little bit of that before we got started. We got a lot to get into this evening. Lakers over the Portland Trailblazers, 114-106. Not the prettiest game. Not exactly the most ideal game out there. But a good win for the Lakers without Anthony Davis. So you clearly take it. You run with what you got. And I do think there's a lot of positive things to talk about. So thank you for being a part of the show. If you guys don't mind to spend 2 seconds of subscribing to the channel, continue to do the post-game show here on Hoops Talk after every Lakers game. And then Monday through Friday, we do the Sleeveless Show. 114-106, the final score. We got a lot to get into. Let me just kind of give everybody a little bit of a rundown what we got in tonight's show. I thought, spending some time talking about Max Christie in that starting role, 28 points, kind of a breakthrough game for him. Interesting how the Lakers have had a couple different moments with some of the youngsters. Dalton Connect earlier in the season. Max Christie now much more consistent. That man may not be leaving the starting lineup soon because he plays defense. He hustles all day long. And now all of a sudden you got a guy that could potentially be a three-point threat as well. He was phenomenal tonight. 5 of 9 from the three-point line. We're going to talk a little bit about LeBron. LeBron dropped 38 points. He's over 40. 38 points. He's over 40 years old. We'll spend a little time talking, obviously, about LeBron. I thought there's some things I want to get into as well, specifically with Austin Reaves and his role with the Lake Show. I don't know how much of the strategy tonight. I genuinely don't know this. How much of the strategy tonight was trying to figure out, okay, do you not play AD tonight because you got a second of a back-to-back tomorrow, but you end up playing him tomorrow, but you don't play LeBron? I have no idea, but maybe there's a little bit of a chess match there. We'll look at the upcoming games for the Lakers. We'll look at the NBA standings, so we're going to get into all of it. Let's start real quick with Max Christie. I think a lot of people are going to want to talk about him tonight in the post-game show, and we should. Just listening to him talk, it's funny. They're asking him how important is the defensive side for him. He's like, defense is everything. Whatever happens after that. He's a young kid. The guy's only in his third year. I'm going to take you guys back here real quick because I think I'm a perfect example of somebody that was excited about Max Christie before the season started, and then all of a sudden I jumped ship when I saw Dalton Connect. I remember one time specifically, it was the first Laker game I went to this year. It was Sacramento and the Lakers. I want to say game 3 of the season. And Max Christie was warming up, and I saw Dalton Connect warming up. And I'm like, Max, can you step to the side here for a quick second? We got Dalton Connect warming up. I just say that because there was a lot of hype behind Dalton Connect, and you were still kind of trying to figure out, what is Max Christie in this league? Are we hyping this guy up and he's not making it happen? Or are Laker fans, which it seems like it happens in every post-game show, are they spending a lot of time saying, hey, Darvin Ham, remember Darvin Ham? Yeah, he screwed up the development of Max Christie. However you guys want to describe it, it doesn't matter. At this stage of the Lakers season, at this stage where, we're not 10 games in or 15 games in or even 30 games in, we're obviously beyond that as well. We're almost to the halfway point of the season. What I know now is I don't think you have to mess too much with the starting lineup. It seems like Max Christie, let him grab that shooting guard position, let him do what he does defensively, let him bring that young, energetic kind of vibe that he brings to this Lakers squad. We see it all the time in the NBA, whether it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, whether it's the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'll use as an example. There's a lot of young Houston Rockets, Memphis Grizzlies, a lot of young teams in the NBA with great guards, a lot of quick, fast, really impressive backcourts in the league right now. And one of the things that, when you describe the Lakers, one of the things that people don't usually talk about when they talk about the Lakers is, hey, you know what they have? They got a lot of youngsters with a lot of energy. And I think for the first time, you could at least see some of the development from some of these players. We know where Austin Reaves is going. Max Christie obviously heading in the right direction as well. You could look at kind of go a little bit further in this. If you want to say, hey, Dalton Connect is heading in the right direction, that's fine. But tonight, I think Max Christie is continuing to solidify, I can hold my own. That's all you're really asking from him. You're not going to ask Max Christie on a night in, night out basis to go drop you 28 points. You're not going to ask him to go 9 of 16 from the field. You're not going to ask him to go 5 of 9 from the 3-point line. But I think what you are asking Max Christie to do is, can you be an effective player one way or the other, night in and night out? Maybe one night you're going to do a fantastic job on the defensive side because that's your job every night, is to try to slow down some of these great guards in the West and in the NBA. But maybe another night, like tonight, you're going to drop 28 for the Lakers. So I just thought Max Christie deserves so much praise tonight. Listen, tonight was not a pretty game. Lakers had some chances to close out the game. I was writing in some of my notes. There's a lot of times towards the end of the game, it was very frustrating watching the Lakers play towards the end because they were just waiting for the clock to run out. That all of a sudden they stopped running any offensive sets. The ball movement stopped. It was Reaves kind of trying to go one-on-one, not really knowing what to do. Then it was LeBron. Well, okay, I'll go one-on-one. Not 100% what to do. And LeBron bailed him out on a couple possessions. They went set. LeBron hit 7 of 10 from the 3-point line. That might not happen the rest of the season. 7 of 10 from the 3-point line. So they got some breaks there at the end. So it wasn't like it was a well-played basketball game. It wasn't like it was pretty. It's not like you could look at it. And I guarantee you, when JJ Redick talks, and when he does, we'll play it here. I'm sure they're not sitting back and saying, hey, that's 48 minutes of Lakers basketball. But at least one of the things that we can walk away from is it's a win. You won without Anthony Davis, which is always an incredible challenge when AD isn't playing. And you got a guy like Max Christie that just, again, seems to be looking incredibly comfortable with his role. Kind of that corner three, very comfortable in that side of, I guess you can call it the court. Those two corner threes where he takes his chances when a LeBron or an Austin Reaves is trying to create. They find him there in the corner. He slashes and makes smart plays when his defender is trying to help. So little things like that, obviously just being in his third year in the NBA, those are huge and certainly helps with what the Lakers are trying to build on this team, this roster. And that's a spot that's been rotated. When D'Lo was here, he was in the starting lineup. Dalton Connect had some moments where he was in the starting lineup. Cam Reddish had some times where he was in the starting lineup. Right now, it feels like the backcourt for the Lakers, at least moving forward, there's a good shot it's going to be Austin Reaves and it's going to be Max Christie. And I don't know if we're going to see much move from there. Just incredible for Max Christie. All right, let me do LeBron here real quick, and we'll continue to go. LeBron had 38 points. He was 15 to 25 from the field. He was 7 to 10 from the 3-point line, and he had 8 assists tonight. Were there some moments where Bron was holding the ball and doing this? Sure, of course there was. Absolutely there was. Anthony Davis wasn't there. Let me repeat to you again what LeBron's stat line was. 38 and 8 and hit 7 threes, and he's 40. It's a pretty good stat line for a 40-year-old. It's a pretty good stat line for a 30-year-old. It's a pretty good stat line for a 25-year-old. It's a pretty good stat line at any level of basketball. LeBron's just happening to do it in the league at age 40. He looked like he was in a phenomenal rhythm. Understood that without Anthony Davis there, they were going to ask him to do more, and he certainly was doing more. I want to jump here real quick because JJ Redick is taking the mic. Let's get a quick listen to JJ, see what he's got to say about the Lakers win over the Blazers.
They were fantastic. Partially because I lived it as a player early in my career. There's a testament and an example there for just being a professional and staying ready. Jackson was available the other night for the first time in a month, and he got a DNP, and then a game later he's starting and making a huge impact. And Christian wasn't in uniform the other night and then comes in and ends up playing, close to 20 minutes. And that was probably his best game of the season. Not just because he scored, but I mean, the offensive rebounds were huge. He's very consistent in executing our pick and roll coverages. So excited for both those guys that they had big time games for us.
JJ, I asked you about the supporting cast pregame, and Max comes out as a career high 28 points, career high 5 threes made. What did you see from him tonight offensively?
Yeah, I'll start with the beginning of the game. I thought our defensive spirit and our physicality, which is something that we really emphasize pregame. It just, it was one of those things where you're just kind of trading baskets. We're generating good looks. We missed some shots, and we give up a 31-point quarter, and didn't think his first run was good in terms of his defensive disposition. He also took 2 mid-range shots, and I wanted to bring his neck, just. And when he got back in the game, I thought his career night started with changing the disposition on defense. And the other thing is, we talked about him developing as an initiator for the offense, because we're down a ball handler right now. We probably had 10 to 12 possessions where he had to bring it up, including some possessions late game. There were 2 close calls. But he didn't have any turnovers on those plays. I thought that was big, again, for him and his development. Just getting him in these situations, I think, is huge. I think you guys know how much I believe in Max, and just happy. He's been building now for several weeks, and he had a 3-game stretch around Christmas, and then to come back tonight and have his career high is just awesome.
JJ, without AD, obviously guys knew they had to do more, but when did you really see it kind of from LeBron? Was it simply shot making that sort of propelled him, or?
All right, let me just jump in here real quick. What JJ said, that obviously everybody knows I believe in Max Christie. He's not just saying it either. He's given him incredible opportunities to go out there and make it happen.
A willing 3-point shooter. We showed one clip from Cleveland the other night where we created an advantage, and he got a kick out pass and dribbled, and then ended up swinging to the corner, and ended up being a dead possession for us. So we want him aggressive, shot ready from 3, just as much as we want him aggressive to get downhill and put pressure on the rim. He's just fantastic. There was a couple possessions where even before they cut it to 4, it was 8, 9, whatever. And, because of their switching and us playing small and not having AD out there, there was a couple possessions that seemed like they were dead possessions, and then he just bailed us out. So just another 38-point game for LeBron.
All right, we'll stop it right there. Just another 38-point game for LeBron James, like it's nothing. I do agree with him. He definitely bailed him out in a couple possessions, so something to keep in mind there. Let me take a look at a couple of the comments. It's going to actually get me into some different conversations. If you got some thoughts on the game now, throw them in the comments, and I'll do my best. If you throw a super out there, thank you very much. So, Brandon, appreciate you doing that. Max is looking really solid. Ham screwed him over last year, shaking my head. AR struggles with any type of ball pressure. It's concerning to me. Can AR be a 20-point guy? All right, let's kind of break down what Brandon's talking about. I told you, listen, people, Darvin Ham is mentioned almost as much as JJ Redick. A lot of Laker fans love bringing up Darvin Ham. I get it. I understand it. There were moments last year where we all know started Taurean Prince for 50-plus games or whatever the case is. There was some stubbornness, I thought, that came with Darvin Ham, and I've said this probably up to this point. I don't know if JJ Redick, how good of a coach this guy's going to be in 5 years. I have no idea. But I'll tell you, the one quality that he has is he doesn't feel like he's stuck on something. This is working. Cool. I'll stick to it. It's not working. All right. I'm not going to put my feet down even more, dig my toes in and say, well, I'm going to do it until it finally works. Yeah, but maybe it just doesn't work. So I think that's what you're talking about, Brandon, when you're saying Ham screwed him over last year. But you know what? Listen, he's 21 years old. So when he was 20, who knows what he was able to contribute? Maybe this is the proper progression for him, and the more confidence that he's getting, the more opportunities that he's getting as well. Could also mean that, without D'Angelo Russell now too, they are going to look for other players now to be more aggressive in scoring. And maybe that's going to open up some opportunities for Max Christie. The other part of this, Austin Reaves struggles with any type of ball pressure. Let me actually talk about Austin Reaves here real quick, because he didn't shoot well, but I'm just going to tell you what I liked about Austin Reaves tonight. What I liked about Austin Reaves is, again, did not shoot well. 5 of 15 from the field and 2 of 9 from the three-point line is not a good stat line. Okay. He had 15 points. You should not have the same amount of points as your shot attempts, right? You should be closer to double your points of what your shot attempts are. So not a good offensively shooting night for Austin Reaves. You saw how they were playing Austin Reaves. Basically, there was a lot of tension and focus on Reaves. You want to know why? Because Anthony Davis wasn't in the game. So the looks that Austin Reaves usually gets, or the, hey, I could take a guy one-on-one because they can't help off of me. They help off of me. You got Anthony Davis sitting in the center there. That's going to be an issue for them. They were able to blitz Austin Reaves and really play physical with him. It's smart. I think more teams should do it. The Pistons did it, whatever that was 2 weeks ago or so, and they found themselves with a W over the Lakers, and he had 6 turnovers that game. But here's what I liked about Austin Reaves' game tonight. It's not like Austin Reaves said, hey, I can't hit a bucket, so if I can't hit a shot, then there's no other way I can be effective. Austin Reaves had 11 dimes tonight, and he had 8 rebounds. He almost had another triple-double. Have you been watching Austin Reaves over these last, what did he have? He had the game with the 26 points and the 16 assists. He had the game winner on national TV when LeBron didn't get the ball on Christmas, and he took the ball to the basket and won the game for the Lakers. He had one of the games he had a triple-double, and I'm forgetting right off the top of my head what he did scoring-wise in – I'm going to find it right here since that's going to bother me if I don't. Against Cleveland, he had the 35, 10, and 9 and led the Lakers. The game before that, he had 26, 16, and 6. Game before that against the Warriors, a triple-double, 26, 10, and 10. I got to be honest with everybody. I'm not worried about Austin Reaves. I'm actually very optimistic about Austin Reaves. I'm optimistic of what's his next step and where he can go. Tomorrow when I do my show at 8 a.m., I'm going to spend more time on Austin Reaves. I'm going to talk about if this man can be an all-star, not this year, but in his near future, can he be an all-star? It really can't happen until probably Bron is out of the league because you're not going to have 3 all-stars from the Los Angeles Lakers. That's not going to happen. But I'm not discouraged by Austin Reaves. Are there areas of his game that I get it? If teams put pressure on him, he's not quick enough. He's not Ja Morant, and he's going to blow past you. But I still think there's a lot of things that he does well. And just seeing his dimes, his assists that he has night in and night out, I think gives me some confidence in where this man can go down the road. Listen, they're going to need him to, because by trading D'Angelo Russell, they basically said, yeah, you're the guy that we're going to depend on as our third best player night in and night out. Let me get a couple more comments in here. Reaves, great game, facilitated the ball very well and rebounded, scored when needed, but solid overall game for our point guard. Didn't shoot well, couldn't hit a 3 if his life depended on it, but he's not just dependent on that. He found other ways to help this Lakers team win in an ugly win. I said it, no Anthony Davis for the Lakers, but also no Jeremy Grant for the Portland Trailblazers. This was a game all the way to the end when, you thought Lakers had pretty much an 8 to 12 point lead the entire game. And you thought they were good to go, and then all of a sudden they're fighting tooth and nail. They got lucky with a deflection that ended in LeBron's hands, and he got a layup, and Lakers went up 5 and then eventually won the game. But I'm not mad at Austin Reaves personally. If some people are frustrated by how he played, guys are going to have bad shooting nights. What else are you going to do if the ball's not falling in the bucket, in the hoop? And I thought tonight he found different ways. Let me find a couple more comments here. Dalton is having quite a long stretch of bad, but I think he'll be a good player. Don't worry too much about Dalton Connect. Don't worry too much about him. I think that guy will find a groove at some point this year. He'll get back into a groove. Let me look at his actual numbers tonight. I didn't really pay too close attention to his numbers. I was too busy looking at some of the other guys. And I'll get into some of the other guys. 2 of 6 from the field, 6 points, 4 personal fouls. Was getting blown by on the defensive side. Had some bad fouls. Who was it? I think it was Scoot that was fading away. I don't know why he was trying to block him rather than just keeping your hand up. Hit him right in the wrist. It was the most clear foul that you can possibly have. So there are areas of his game that obviously he's got to be a lot better, and he will be. The guy is he just needs more experience. Max is only 21, Slee. No question about that. Just kind of shows what his opportunity is going to be. Imagine if Darvin gave him some minutes last year. People love Darvin. They love him. They love Darvin on this chat. All right, let's keep going here. There was one other one that I saw here. I'll see some of these other comments. Not 100% sure what this one means. Laker fans are the only fans to bitch and complain after every win. Worst fans in the league. Are we not allowed to critique the team? I never understand this. This is a post-game show. The idea of a post-game show is to critique what you just saw. Imagine if all I did was come on here and tell you guys that the sky is blue and everything is great, whether the Lakers were on a 5-game winning streak or a 5-game losing streak. Guys, you have to critique. Why the hell would you guys tune into me if all I was doing was telling you guys that the roses smell great? Come on. It's the whole point of a post-game show. You got to critique. Even in W's, there's things to critique. I don't think you guys want me to just come on here and pretend like everything is great. That's part of the job. That's part of the job. All right, let's look at some more here. By the way, I got no issues. If you guys have your thoughts, comments, opinions, that's the whole point of the post-game show too. You have a right to your own opinion. So you put your own opinion there. All right, this is a good one right here. What are your thoughts in the 2 games from the newbies, DFS and Shake? So obviously Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton. I feel like Shake Milton actually has seemed a little bit more comfortable. Getting a couple of buckets, can create for himself. Dorian Finney-Smith did get his first 3 for the Lakers. 1 for 4 from the 3-point, 1 for 4 from the 3-point line, 1 of 6 from the field. If you want me to be completely blunt, I think Dorian Finney has been underwhelming so far, but I'm also not worried about Dorian Finney-Smith. I think that man will find a way to be productive for the Los Angeles Lakers, and through time and more time and Anthony Davis on the floor and better spacing and him kind of knowing where LeBron likes to be and where Austin Reaves likes to be, and where some of these players all how they create and how he could be most effective for the Lakers, I think he'll be fine. But the first 2 games, it's been underwhelming. I mean, I haven't seen anything from Dorian Finney-Smith, and this is a guy that loves the trade. This is the guy that likes that the Lakers moved on from D'Angelo Russell. I think Dorian Finney has been but he'll get better. Shake Milton, I actually think there's been some moments for Shake where I'm like, all right, kind of a creator here, can hit shots, is definitely not concerned about taking shots. So that would be my initial thoughts on both of those players. It's a good question, and I appreciate you bringing that up. All right, let's keep going here. I thought we were going to get Max, but Max is not talking yet. It's Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes comes in starting, obviously, for Anthony Davis with AD out. Let's look at a couple more of these comments here. DFS needs to find a role. That's it. I think he will be. Okay, this is a good one. All right, I got 2 good ones here. Let me do this one because I just got to Shake, and then I'm going to come back to that one. Slee, I told you not to sleep on Shake. He's nice and not a throw-in. You're right. You did tell me that. And there are a couple other people that have mentioned that on the chat. There's a couple other people that mentioned it, just hitting me up on Twitter or whatever the case is. And then I remember it was a couple days ago when I was in, this was Monday, I was in at Spectrum Sportsnet. I was getting ready to do a show. Remember, this is the day after the trade. I was in there doing some TV on Spectrum Sportsnet. And the producer for the show, his name's Brandon Moore, really good dude. We were talking about the trade, and this guy would not stop on Shake Milton. He's like, that's a good player. And I haven't watched the Brooklyn Nets, so I don't know much about Shake Milton. But there was a couple people in the chat that was telling me that he mentioned it as well. So I'm like, all right, well, let's see what this guy can do. In the very, very, very limited time that I've seen the guy, he looks like a guy that's, this is what I do. I come to work, I put the ball in the bucket, and that's my job. I clock in, I'm a bucket getter, And then when the day ends, I go home and, whatever else he does after that. So we'll see. We'll see with Shake Milton. But I think, so far seeing both of those players, certainly some work to do. And that's no surprise or shock. I think that's what you're expecting over time. We'll see how those two guys are able to contribute. All right, let's see what else we have here. Okay, this one. The Rui needs to be traded ASAP. I had, you guys should go back to my show this morning that I had. So 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm doing a show live on YouTube. It's called The Sliwa Show. And I'm hitting on, a number of different topics, but it's very, very, very heavy Lakers, pretty heavy NBA. It will only get more heavy that as we get closer to the postseason. I had Eric Pincus on. Eric Pincus covers the NBA for Bleacher Report and is like basically an expert when it comes to the cap and to the apron, the first apron and the second apron, and how do Lakers go make this move and that move. And a lot of our conversation was about Walker Kessler this morning. I just kind of was kind of a fascination of, okay, well, can they get him? How would they get him? What kind of draft compensation would it be? Rui, let me just say this real quick about Rui, okay? Rui, by the way, 2 of 6, 0 4 from the three-point line, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Rui falls into a category for me for the Lakers. There's a few players that fall into this category. And I think D'Lo was in this category as well before he got traded. There's certain players, any given night, I have no idea what they're going to give. I have a pretty good idea what Anthony Davis is going to give the Lakers. I have a pretty good idea what LeBron's going to give the Lakers, and I have a pretty good idea of what Austin Reaves is going to give the Lakers. And maybe with Austin Reaves, I'm underselling him because now he's going to be more of a primary ball handler and is probably going to get closer to 20 points a game and is probably going to get closer to 8 assists a game, something along those lines. After those three players, I got no idea what Rui Hachimura is going to give the Lakers. I have no idea what Gabe Vincent is going to give the Lakers. Dalton Connect. And listen, Max Christie dropped 28 tonight. It's not like I know every night what Max Christie is going to give the Lakers. He might give them 8 coming up tomorrow against the Atlanta Hawks. That could very well happen as well. Rui falls into that category where I got no idea what to expect tomorrow. Would I be shocked tomorrow that Rui comes out against the Atlanta Hawks, has 16 points, goes 4 of 6 from the three-point line? I would not. And then I also would not be shocked if he has 6. So I think there's some Laker fans that have some frustration on Rui Hachimura, and I don't blame you. Because I, for me, when he signed that contract with the Lakers, I was hoping for more. I was expecting more. If you guys remember earlier in the season, I was talking about how I really, really was putting pressure on Rui's got to be a more consistent player. I think this is just who he is. I don't think, we're ever going to be sitting here over the next, year or so. And if Rui Hachimura is still a Los Angeles Laker, I think we're just going to kind of see those nights where he looks good and other nights where, yeah, he just looks like a guy that's on the floor, but you don't really feel his presence. So that might be a good conversation in itself, is how some of these, some Laker fans feel specifically about Rui. All right, let's see what else we got here. Rui is definitely next on the chopping block. Gabe plays more defense than Rui. I'll tell you one thing. Rui's a lot more dependable to be in games than Gabe Vincent. A lot more dependable. I mean, he's around all the time, and that's not the case, obviously with Gabe Vincent. He's out now as well. So, all right, here's another one from Adam. But we win with Rui. Hey, if you're winning and that's equal in W's, then it is what it is. It's all good. But I think what you're asking for Rui, I don't think they're asking for much from Rui Hachimura. And most nights it's underwhelming. Most nights it'd been nice if he got a couple more buckets. So I think that's the best way to put it. All right, let's get some more of these here. Shake has been on 5 teams in 2 years. Stop with the he'll settle in. That's right. Is he on 5? Isn't this his 6th team? Or maybe you're not counting the Lakers. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm okay to give the guy a shot. It's not like, the Lakers have crazy depth and play. Just think about all the players that I was just talking about. I just named out 4 or 5 players that you can't depend on any given night because you're not sure what they're going to give. So maybe this is one of those situations where Shake Milton might get an opportunity where they actually need him. All right, everybody relax here. Sleep plays more D than Rui. Come on, guys. All right, let's see what else we have here. A couple other things I want to get into as well. By the way, tomorrow, I'm not going to do it tonight, but did you guys hear the Jimmy Butler presser? And we're going to see if LeBron talks or if Austin Reaves talks or Max Christie. I'm going to jump to that. Did you guys hear Jimmy Butler on basically publicly saying, yeah, it's a wrap here in Miami? It's a wrap here in Miami. My only concern with Jimmy Butler leaving the Miami Heat is he ends up in a team in the Western Conference where it makes sense or he's a good fit or they're missing a player like that. We don't need any more talent in the West. But damn, it's not too often that you hear a player be that vocal about, yeah, I think I'm good here. It's kind of funny. It was a couple weeks ago where wasn't Shams trying to defend himself because the agent for Jimmy Butler came out and said, there's no trade talks. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And then Pat Riley came out and said something, and it was like, hey, maybe Shams got the wrong report here. I don't think Shams got the wrong report. I think Shams was reporting something that they didn't like, but it was the truth. But I'll get into that a little bit more tomorrow. Most games with 30-plus points in NBA history. Michael Jordan, 562. LeBron James, 562. I don't know how many more games LeBron had to play over Michael Jordan to get to 562, but obviously it's an incredible feat. I mean, to give you an example, Kobe, 431 over his career. All right, Bron is talking. Let's take a listen to Bron, and I will now shut the hell up.
Believe in him, and he's spectacular tonight on both ends of the floor.
Specific to tonight for you, how do you describe the efficient 38 at 40 years old?
Work. I mean, I just key in on the things that I work on before the game. Obviously, when I come in early and get my shots up and prepare myself mentally to go out there and play an efficient game. I've always been efficient in my career, so I just try to continue that when I get on the floor and take great shots, keep my guys involved, and try to get wins.
To AD being out is your offensive night tonight? Like you go into a different mode in terms of
Yeah, you got a guy that's averaging 25 plus and rebounds and blocks, and he's our number one, number two option. So when he's out, we all have to step up our game, including myself, and I think everybody pitched in on that end.
You tied Michael Jordan for the most career 30-point games in NBA history tonight, 562. When you're accumulating points throughout the course of a game, are you aware of where you're at? And when you're nearing 30, when you're at 25, do you have any sense of that? And could you pace yourself for that?
No, I don't pace myself for it, but when you kind of have a heater going, you want to try to keep it going by continuing to take good shots and take the right shots and not get yourself out of a zone. So you're aware of it when you're on the floor and you've made a few. Absolutely.
LeBron JJ was talking about liking that you're taking threes at certain times and being shot ready, but you've obviously balanced your attacking the frame and creating that pressure.
Yeah.
How do you think about that? Even on a night like tonight?
Yeah, always. It's always got to be balanced. As well as I've been able to improve my shot from the outside through the later stage of my career, is always about putting pressure at the rim. I know I attract so many eyes, so many defenders, so. If I'm attacking, then I know I can give my guys shots, and that's what's very important to me because we all need to be in a rhythm, not just myself. So, if I've got it going from the outside, that's even more, going to make it even, a lot easier for me to get into the paint, to the cracks, give my guys extra looks.
Max is just
21. All right, final one here.
22 in February, but in what ways sort of has his maturity? How have you seen
LeBron's got to say about Max?
But it helps, when the coaches believe in you and you're given the opportunity to make mistakes when you're a young kid. And then you go out there and you live with your mistakes, but also get better from them. Obviously, earlier, we had a couple, I think, was that OKC, I believe? Yep. Yeah, when we fouled, like one game, he learned from that. Coaches didn't give up on him and say, okay, well, you made a mistake. All right, sit down. He's been early on. He was in the rotation, didn't get out of the rotation, then we inserted him back into the starting lineup, and he just took off from there and just taking full advantage of it. So he's ready for this opportunity, and we're happy for him.
All right, we'll stop right there. Okay, maybe you guys are starting to influence me on reading too much into this. Was that an indirect shot at Darvin Ham? The coaches believe in him, even if he makes a mistake, they stick with him. I think that's an overall message of any player or any good leader. If you're a manager and somebody that you're managing makes a mistake and you tear them a new one, and then you take away that opportunity from them to learn from that mistake, then that's probably going to damage them. If you're a good manager or you're a good coach and you say, all right, you made that mistake, you see what you did, right? Okay, cool. I'm not taking anything away from you. I'm just going to let you, all right, mistakes happen. That's actually the best way that you can learn, is you only learn through mistakes and through, situations where things don't go as planned. That is good leadership. Now, if Max Christie kept doing something that didn't make sense, or Max Christie now cost the Lakers 2 games in a row, and you're saying, hey, he's literally hurting us and it's affecting the entire team, get this guy off the floor, that's a different story. I know I'm reading too much into it because we're talking about Darvin Ham. So I don't think he's thinking of Darvin Ham while he's saying that. But I thought of Darvin Ham when he said it, just simply because how little Max Christie got those opportunities last year. All right. By the way, and I'll let you guys comment in on that. A lot of comments from the Rui stuff. We just need Rui to play physical. Rui lacks tenacity and hunger. Rui is a below average player. He's not a good basketball player. Rui is basically taking playing time from DFS at this point. So a lot of people have their opinion, clearly on Rui Hachimura. All right, here was one comment here that I highlighted. I'll get into it here real quick. I'm okay with DFS not finding his shot as long as he plays D that we desperately need. Here's the problem. You can't shoot 44% from the three-point line and then come to the Lakers and then not be able to hit threes. So I'm going to disagree on that one because he's hitting threes. He was hitting threes in Brooklyn. He was a good three-point shooter when he was in Dallas. Lakers need snipers on the floor, especially when you got guys that can create like LeBron, like Austin Reaves, and then you got so much attention that goes to Anthony Davis. So I don't think this is just about, hey, we just need somebody that can play defense. Cam Reddish can play defense, but do you want Cam Reddish in the game at the end when he's such a liability on offense? You don't. What you want in that situation is a guy that you traded for, that you obviously gave up an expiring contract and 3 second-rounders. You need him to hit threes. So I don't want to give him a free pass from that department, because when you get in the playoffs, you're most definitely going to need him to hit some of these shots. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments here. Shots fired. All right, maybe you saw what I saw as well. Maybe I was just reading into it. Either way, Max increased his trade value. Let me say this. I've said this before. I was trying to make a case when De'Aaron Fox was on the trade market, or not on the trade market, but when that report came out, 2 weeks ago or so, that it's a dangerous time. This was before they fired Mike Brown. It's a dangerous time for the Sacramento Kings with De'Aaron Fox. And I sat there and I actually played this out on one of the postgame shows. I said, okay, if I'm the Sacramento Kings, I'm going to make a deal with the Lakers. What do I want for De'Aaron Fox? First off, we all know that owner is not trading De'Aaron Fox to the Los Angeles Lakers. So we all know it's not going to happen. But what I said was, here's what I would want. I would want Austin Reaves. I would want Max Christie. I can't remember if I said Max Christie or Dalton Connect. And then I said something about Rui Hachimura, because there's another trade asset that I could have. And, oh, by the way, I want your, 2 first-rounders and everything else. If Max Christie is starting to create that type of value for himself, great. But he's also not an expensive player. $8 million. Who's more valuable to the Lakers right now, Max Christie or Gabe Vincent? Well, Max is only making 8. Gabe Vincent's making 11 a year. So I think that, obviously kind of says something right there. I mean, Jared Vanderbilt, who I'm a fan of, hasn't played all year and hasn't played since February, is making more money than Max Christie. So it's not like Max Christie is an expensive contract or a bad contract. He's very valuable. You know what else is very valuable? Austin Reaves' contract is very valuable as well. All right, here's what we got here. Everybody's going after each other. Everybody going at Rui. Slee, it happens to us all the time. Look at Beasley. How about Spencer Dinwiddie? Didn't Dinwiddie? I mean, we don't have to go back to Beasley. Dinwiddie came to the Lakers last year and couldn't hit a shot if his life depended on it. Every time I used to see Dinwiddie, whether he wasn't he Dallas and Brooklyn? I mean, basically the same teams. I'm trying to think here off the top of my head, but I think both of those teams. Anyways, Dinwiddie would always hit buckets. And then he left. And or then he came to the Lakers and couldn't hit a shot if his life depended on it. DFS not finding his shot on the Lakers is typical Laker tax. Yeah, well, they got to find their shot. Yeah, I don't want to believe into that one. 44% means he'll shoot about 39%, which is not bad. All right, let me give everyone just a quick idea here. So, upcoming games coming up for the Lakers. I'm just going to look here. I want to kind of see if Max Christie ends up talking, and if he does, let's see what happens. So, AD didn't play today, ankle sprain. I'm assuming AD is playing tomorrow. I mean, I don't know what you guys want me to tell you here, but I'm just going to assume that he's going to play, second of a back-to-back. We'll see what happens with LeBron. I don't know if LeBron's going to be strategic. Is that why he went out 15 to 25, fired away, and just said, hey, I'm going to shoot all my bullets tonight because I'm not playing tomorrow? I have no idea. But without Anthony Davis in the lineup tonight, you can get away with beating a bad Portland Trailblazers team who didn't have, arguably their best player or one of their best players in Jeremy Grant. You can't get away with that tomorrow if you're playing the Atlanta Hawks. So really, really hope that Anthony Davis is in that game. And we all know what happened to Anthony Davis. This was a couple days ago. Anthony Davis, the last time that the Lakers ended up playing against the Atlanta Hawks, AD was there, LeBron was there. Lakers lost that game in overtime. So it's going to be a tough game. Atlanta, I think, has won 4 of their last 5 games. I think they had won 4 in a row and just lost their last game that they had against Denver. So something to keep in mind on that front. NBA standings, where the Lakers are in the standings, just based off of tonight's win and all the other action in the NBA. Kind of interesting what's happening in the league right now. Dallas is without Luka, so they've lost 3 games in a row, and they've fallen to the number 5 spot. Clippers have lost their second in a row. They lost earlier tonight. Minnesota lost to Boston. So Lakers find themselves in the number 6 spot. Number 6 spot, and a half game behind the Mavs and the Denver Nuggets. Lakers could, theoretically here, you go on a little bit of a winning streak. You could be in the number 4 spot in the Western Conference. That is not out of the question and out of the ordinary. And for most Laker fans that have been watching Lakers basketball over the last couple of years, to be saying that in January, that's not very common. That's not very common. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like they have a 5-6 game cushion on everybody, but I do think that that's impressive that the Lakers find themselves in that position, and they're playing some of their best basketball right now. I mean, they were playing good basketball early in the season, but I'll take the style that they have now over anything that they accomplished early in the season, simply because they can get stops and they play some defense. Obviously, if AD's not there, that's a little bit different of a story. But AD wasn't there tonight. Lakers still only gave up 106 to the Portland Trailblazers. All right, let's take a look at some more of your guys' comments here. Let's see what else we got here. True, Reaves is the glue to this team. Slee hopefully sees that. I will say this, Leon, and I appreciate you putting in the comment. There was some of these comments, by the way, are hilarious. That's why when the interview was going on, and I get an actual chance to start looking at the comments, it's hard to do it when, the show is flowing and everything, and I'm on one of my points. And some of the comments on there they're just hilarious to me. So to go off of this, that Reaves is the glue of the team, I'll say this. There were moments in tonight's game where I thought when Reaves wasn't in the game, there was this kind of, I don't know if you want to call it panic, but I'm like, yeah, you got to get Reaves back in the game. There were too many times where this happens, but the standing around, they're not really sure how to get into an offense. They're not really sure who to create. Basically, LeBron would just kind of stand around like, is anybody going to do anything or do I have to do everything? And all the other guys are just staring at LeBron. That happens sometimes when Reaves is in the game as well, or these guys over dribble or whatever the case is. But no, I know how important, Reaves is, but there is a pecking order. Anthony Davis is by far the most important player on this team. And then I think after that, you're going to have nights like LeBron was dropped 38 for the Lakers. And there's going to be other nights like these last couple of games that the Lakers have had where Austin Reaves, there were plenty of times where you're like, hey, this guy looks like he's the best player on the floor. So he's obviously had a lot of opportunities as well to show his impact. A lot of home games coming up for the Lakers. I'm looking at this at Spectrum right now. They got the game tomorrow against Atlanta. Then they got 2 road games against Houston and Dallas. And then Charlotte, San Antonio, Miami, Brooklyn, a Clippers home game, which is basically a home game, Washington and Boston. 8 games where they stay in LA, with one of those games, obviously with a Clippers home game. Lakers still haven't played over at the new Intuit Dome. Steve Ballmer's Intuit Dome. A lot of toilets. When I go to my first game at the Intuit Dome, he said it's the most toilets of any other stadium in the NBA. I'm going to go count them out. I don't know how many he has. I'm going to grab a clipboard, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to cross right there. I want to know exactly how many urinals and toilets that he has there. Very important to me. I don't want him to false advertise here. All right. I think we're coming to an end here, my people. I was waiting long enough for one of these other guys to talk, and we didn't get anything. Nothing from them. I didn't get anything from Max. I know Max talked right after the game, so that was probably why. All right, let me get one more in here, and we'll call it a day. Slee, what trade makes this current roster contenders? Well, let me get the ones. If De'Aaron Fox was on the Los Angeles Lakers, then I think that is no question about it, contender. But De'Aaron Fox is not going to be a Laker, and neither are Zach LaVine and Lonzo. So I think the most realistic one is Sexton and Kessler. And does that make them a contender? To be honest with you, I don't know. I just know that they would have the pieces that they need if they're healthy to at least say, we can play multiple styles. We can play. There was a good, I started earlier and I forgot to look at it. When I had Eric Pincus on this morning, this was a good comment. According to Eric, the morning show, it's very likely that Reaves is going to be our 3rd best player. Do you think even if we make another trade, we got enough to get it done? So I think this kind of similar questions there. I think at this stage, especially after getting rid of D'Lo in that contract, you're not bringing on a big-time player. You're not bringing in Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, Jimmy Butler. You're not bringing in any of those guys. So Reaves would be the 3rd best player on your team. I've already pointed this out. I have concern with that. But the only way the Lakers can address that is you got a shit ton of depth after that. And you could play in many different styles. You want to play big, they can play big. You want to play tough, they can play tough. You want to play offensive-minded, you can do that. If you want to play defensive-minded, they have that option as well. So that's the one thing that I will say is I think that's what Rob Pelinka and the front office is trying to position themselves for. What they're trying to position themselves for is if they go out and get a guy like Walker Kessler, then they're in a position where we can now match up whatever style you play, we can match that style. And we kind of give ourselves multiple options of beating you. There's some teams out there, they're only going to win one way. And Oklahoma City is only going to win one way, and they're phenomenal, and they're the best defensive team in the NBA, and they got real superstars in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they're eventually going to get Chet Holmgren back, and they're a phenomenal team. But that style might be good enough to get them to the NBA Finals. Certainly, it appears so, that the way that they're playing right now. Cleveland can beat you in multiple ways. Cleveland can go big, they can go small, they can go wings, they could go guards. They got a lot of different ways to beat you. I think Boston has more options as well. And I think the Lakers, what they're trying to do is maybe they're not great at one thing, but they're really good in multiple ways. And that's probably going to have to be the way that they beat you. You got LeBron, you got Anthony Davis, you got Austin Reaves, and then you just got a ton of depth with a ton of different players. All right, let me get a couple more in here because I think we might be getting closer to getting a little Max Christie action here. If he talks, I certainly want to hear what he has to say. So we'll get a little bit closer to that. If we get him, then if I get him in the next minute or two, I'll hang around. If it's not going to happen, then God bless you all. I hope you all have a great evening, and we'll keep it moving. A couple more comments here. Fox equals contenders. I agree. They're just not going to get him. That's the problem. The problem is, I'm a big De'Aaron Fox fan, and we know how good he's been for the Sacramento Kings. He'll probably end up getting traded, and maybe they don't trade him. They still have him for next year as well. But if he's basically giving you the indication that he's not going to re-sign with you, then you'd be smart enough to trade him. It's just very rare that you see two franchises like that make a deal together. So I definitely don't think that that's going to be happening at least anytime soon. All right, my people. I waited long enough. We are not going to have. He's not talking. I don't know where the hell he is. Max, what do you want me to do? You're 21 years old. You're a third-year player. Get your ass behind a microphone. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And we'll talk a little bit more about what Max Christie was able to do. There was a really good article on Austin Reaves in the LA Times with Dylan Hernandez. I didn't get a chance to do it today, but tomorrow I don't have a guest on, so I'll spend some time on that. We'll talk about the game coming up, Lakers and the Hawks. So we got a lot to get into. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for what did we go today? 52 minutes long. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Lakers over the Blazers, 114-106. 8 a.m. tomorrow. We'll be back here tomorrow night, another post-game show. Please subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your night.